So the next thing you're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to what the ACT style prompt, writing prompt, looks like, and what you'll have to do. And then you're going to um, plan it out using the graphic organizer that's attached. So on today's assignment, you'll see a PDF, and I just want you to open that up. And it says misogyny and the devil in Tom Walker. So the first thing you want to do is read the prompt. This is really important on the paragraph or on the ACT because this paragraph a lot of times has some really helpful information in it, including some examples you could use. So it says misogyny is defined as dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. Some have argued that Washington Irving must have been a misogynist because he consistently portrays women negatively in his stories. It is worth considering if the negative portrayal of Tom's wife in The Devil and Tom Walker is justification for labeling Irving as misogynist. Reading carefully, consider these perspectives. Each suggests a particular way of thinking about Irving and whether or not he was a misogynist. So on the ACT, you'll get a paragraph like that, and then 3 different perspectives. So the first one is, Irving was absolutely a misogynist. The way he portrays Tom's wife is proof that he had a negative opinion of women. The second perspective, Irving was clearly not a misogynist. He portrays both genders negatively, not just women. And the third one is, it is evident that Irving portrays women negatively. However, Tom's wife has every right to act the way she does. Tom does not seem to love her, respect her, or provide for her. This does not prove that Irving was a misogynist. It simply proves the following saying true. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. All right, so on the actual ACT, it'll say write an essay, but you guys aren't, so I changed it. Complete the graphic organizer about if Irving was a misogynist. In your essay, be sure to clearly, in your graphic organizer, I should have changed that too. Be sure to clearly state your own perspective on the issue and analyze the relationship between your perspective and at least one other. Develop and support your ideas with reasoning and examples. Organize your ideas clearly and logically, and communicate your ideas effectively in standard written English. Your perspective may be in full agreement with any of those given, in partial agreement, or completely different. So what I want you to do is write one of the perspectives to argue here. So you can just copy it out for now, okay? Either perspective 1, 2, or 3, but you have to write it all out. You can't just write perspective 1, okay? And don't do that on the ACT either, okay? Don't just write perspective 1 or perspective 2. You have to write it out, okay? So pick one and write it out there, whichever one you agree with. Now you need to think of 3 reasons why this is true. Now, you're going to be tempted to have this be your evidence, and it's not. They're not. The reasons are not the same as evidence. You want to think a little bit bigger. Like, think more about, like, characteristics. So if you're saying that Tom's wife is proof that he had a negative opinion of women, saying things like because she's greedy, she's abusive, etc. Those are your reasons, okay? If you're saying, no, he portrays both genders negatively, then, I mean, obviously greedy would still work. Inconsiderate, inhumane, those would work well for Tom as well, and others. So for your reasons, I want you to think bigger, okay? Think characteristics. And then your examples, your reasons are 3 different reasons why this perspective is true. And then your examples, I want exact quotes. So if you say she's abusive, find the exact quote that infers that she's abusive, okay? If you say she's greedy, find me a quote that proves that she's greedy. Make sure your quote is copied correctly, including spelling, punctuation, capitalization, that it has speech marks around it, and then it has the page number in parentheses afterwards. And then lastly, on this page, you want to explain why this quote supports this reason. Why this quote supports this reason. Why this quote supports this reason. So what in it shows that she's abusive? Or what in it shows that he's inconsiderate or inhumane or greedy or whatever, okay? All right, Then you want to pick a different perspective, and you want to start it off with some people may argue. Okay, so you're acknowledging a counter argument. So if this was your perspective that you argued on the first page, then this is going to be the perspective on the second page, likely. Okay, so some people may argue, and then you say a different perspective. It's exactly what Paine did, okay, in his work. So all of this up here, this was his argument was why we can't reconcile with Great Britain, why we must be independent, and then he gave his 6 reasons, okay, and then he said some people might say that we need to stay with Britain. She's our parent country. She protects us, right? If that sounds familiar, sorry, those are his reasons down here, right? She's our parent country. She protects us. We flourished because of her, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of these other 2, whichever one you haven't done, or whatever. Yeah, pick one you haven't done. And then you're writing it there. And then you're going to give me 2 reasons why people might think that's true. Okay? And then underneath those, you have to explain why they're wrong, why that reason is irrelevant, or why that reason is not important as yours. Because it's very, we don't want you to have a balanced essay. We want you to write an argumentative essay, a persuasive essay, like Paine. Okay, so we don't want it to be like, well, both sides are valid. We don't want that. We want you to argue your perspective, okay, support it, explain it, and then address the counter argument, address the opposing argument, show that you understand their reasoning, and then destroy that belief system, okay, so that only your belief system is left at the end, right here, okay? So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have fun, and I'm really excited to read these.